Welcome to Built to Last. I'm Kate Addamo.
And I'm Adrian Addamo. This is a podcast to challenge the way you think, to change the way you live. Health, home, relationships, and business, it's all on the table. Let's build it to last. Welcome to episode 3.
Thank you so much for your comments, love, shares, support from the first 2 episodes. We recorded them prior to launch, so now we have the opportunity in episode 3 to thank you all so much for that. It's been
Sincerely.
a really beautiful response and so much love and so many shares and so many DMs and messages and calls that we got from friends and clients. So yeah, very, very grateful for that.
Yeah, pretty overwhelming. Like it was a lot all at once that I definitely wasn't expecting, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a nice feeling. So genuinely, thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to know that it's been well received. And obviously the conversation is going to change and flow into many directions, over the coming months and who knows, even years. We don't have a plan for how long we want to do this, but we just wanted to get started. And I also just wanted to share, if you're watching along on YouTube, we've actually decided to create the studio in our home, because I meant to say my office. In my office, this is where I work from every day. So my clients will recognize the backdrop. And we've given it the theme of our home really. It's kind of a bit of a Ralph Lauren vibe, modern farmhouse, pieces that we love, and just our home.
Just some ideas that I put together, basically.
Cool. And just a few little bits and pieces, like the stock whip up the back. Like that's just a little nod to my grandfather, who I rode horses with all the time, and he always carried his stock whip with him. And I guess my love of just horses and that kind of vibe and aesthetic flowing into our own little personal studio. And we thought about going to some studios at Brisbane and the coast, but just time-wise and Adrian travelling,
now,
it didn't make sense.
half an hour ago, we were almost regretting the studio vibe because
we do have to
the
set
next
this up.
neighbours.
4 children were playing basketball in the driveway.
And so
we had to wait patiently to record. But anyway, that's just that's part of the fun. And we just wanted a studio that represented and reflected us. And I guess, it's amazing that some people go to those studios, but it starts to look a little bit the same. So we just wanted something that felt really unique. And
that worked with my travel.
With your travel schedule. Yeah. So we'll dive into today's episode. So today we wanted to talk about the gaps that we're seeing out there in business. Now, we both work in different parts of business. Adrian is with inside businesses, working with leaders and teams, kind of one-on-one and workshops and all sorts of things. Yeah. And I'm working with inside businesses with the business owner directly on the business. So, 2 different sides of things that we're seeing, but some common themes.
Different perspectives, definitely common themes. You obviously have been mentoring, particularly women in the creative space. And like you said, you're working directly with the owner, the founder. So what are you seeing as a challenge that they're currently facing?
Yeah, I guess there's a few, and I'm working with creative and service-based, predominantly women, but a few guys. And I think there's a few major things that I'm seeing. One is a big struggle, especially with women in the creative space, is the finance side of business and struggling to understand the cash flow and how to map that, how to pay yourself, how to increase your wage, how to put money aside for tax and BAS, and to have that there quarterly, and to have money to keep reinvesting in the business and to grow.
So is this like more of a running of the business as opposed to doing the thing that they actually love, like the creative part as opposed to the business part?
Yeah, and I think that's with a lot of businesses, because no one starts a business knowing how to run a business. We have a love for a service or a product or whatever it is that we want to share, or our gift or our passion. And there's something there that we're quite good at. And I see that with a lot of women I work with, and whether that be from, say, interior design through to copywriter or a lawyer or HR or events or whatever it might be, there's a real passion for what they do and they're very good at that. But then there becomes a gap in the running of the business, and they're 2 very different things, the service offering and the running of the business. And there's so much time and focus and energy spent on the service offering, and then neglecting the business is leading to so many different cracks and gaps. And I think there's also
This is super interesting, because this is effectively the same as like the best employee becoming the manager. They're good at the thing that they do, but that doesn't necessarily translate. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah. So, and I think the innate thing I think within a lot of women, unfortunately, is people pleasing, and our worth being derived from the compliments, the feedback, and what we're actually doing. And that is where there's so much overgiving, like time and energy leaks. And what I'm so passionate about doing is helping women to understand what they value and what their vision is and what they want their life to look like. And then we create a business to match that. So we create offerings based on their skill set and getting the best outcome for that client, and then pricing that aligned with the value. Because I see that there's so often the clients coming to me and they want A, B, C, and D, and or they want C, D, and F, or whatever it is. But you need to actually teach and guide them that you need the A, B, C, D, and the steps to get to that place. And there's a few clients I'm working with that at the moment, and it's teaching them how to offer the best offering to get the most value and impact as well for their client.
So structure, like obviously there's going to be
big part structure. Yeah.
Like customized to some degree, customization and bespoke in the service that they may offer. But you're talking about like having a structure that allows them to lean into alongside the actual business itself of the service. So there's the back end support, and then there's the front end delivery. Like
the two need to run hand in hand, and it feels like there's almost a 80% focus on one and a 20% focus on the other. And for me, it's always been probably half and half, and that's something that I have invested in from the very beginning of my business, is understanding the finances and the cash flow, continuing to better develop the process and understand the offerings and create repeatable business. Because I see there's a lot of women that I'm working with that are offering the same things, but they're just tweaking it slightly differently for every client. It's a new proposal and it's different stages of payment, and it's messy and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be.
I mean, I'm victim of that.
Yeah. And this is what I'm trying to help you with at the moment, currently.
I know, but particularly at the start when you are still working it out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely a challenge, because you do, I mean, I personally would fall into the trap of, and when I first became a manager, you want to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And that absolutely dilutes you. There's an element to that where you've got to sort of try and see what you like.
I think you do. Yeah. You definitely do, before you can, I don't love the thought of niche, but like get clearer on what you're better at offering. Because if we try to service everyone, it's exhausting. And I can reflect this back to the creative industry probably straight away, whereas a lot of people start and it's like, okay, well, I'm doing some property styling, or I'm doing some interior design, and I'm doing some decluttering, and I'll do a little bit of reno, and I'll do a little bit of everything, but you're exhausted, you're spread thin, you don't have proper process for any, you don't know how to charge properly for any. And you just become a slave to it, and you're actually not making any money. You're just trying to make everyone happy, rather than just going, hey, I'm really good at, just property styling or interior design or whatever it might be in your industry. I'm very good at that. I'm going to do that very well. And I'm not going to worry about the passive or the bits and pieces on the side, or just because people come to me that I need to do that. I think again, it's clarity. Okay. It's the clarity in your offering and how you can best deliver the outcome that people need, rather than.
But would you say that you're also seeing a lot of people that have that one-eyed focus, but then the neglect is in the other part, the foundational part of the business?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's because they're not so good at that. So focus on where you are good, because you get wins there. Like I feel good when I'm doing things that I'm good at. No one really likes the feeling of not achieving or not being good at, the finances can be overwhelming. Paying BAS can be overwhelming. Whatever the systems that you're working with, I've been introduced to so many different platforms, and that is overwhelming.
It can be. And this is one of the things that I'm really passionate about, is how do we simplify business? And I think for me, at some point I'll share more about my health journey, but I've had to keep things as simple and as easy and as repeatable as I can. And that's something that I think has now become a strength of mine, that I can share with other women in business, especially mums who are a lot more time poor, to get a really simplified business model and just tighten it all up so that they have more capacity for the things that matter to them. And I spoke about this in my newsletter that went out yesterday, I think it was. The amount of people that come to me, it's like, oh, I've had this subscription for that and I didn't get to set it up and the trial period's expired, and there's just a feeling like how do I say it? Like they're beating themselves up because
it's another fail.
It's another fail.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. So what I love doing is helping women just go, right, this is the systems you need. Let's set them up. If we can't do it, let's outsource it to someone and let's just get these couple of things done over the next few months. This is what we prioritize. This is the order and this is the outcome that you'll get. And it just makes it so much easier.
I mean, to be able to separate and focus on your like short-term wins and sometimes getting an outside eye to do that is so valuable, because I know that, I mean, whether it was when I first became a manager and all of a sudden you've got all of these new tasks that you got to do. And then certainly when I started my own business, I've got all of these tasks that you got to do. It's overwhelming. Like, how do you eat an elephant? How do you answer that?
Not answering that. You've caught me there before.
But it is overwhelming. And sometimes, you know, that just segment what is most important now, which is like an acronym, WIN, what is important now, to overcome some of that procrastination and start to build that confidence and wins along the way. Yeah, really important.
Yeah, it is. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's something I'm passionate about. It's something I needed to create for myself. I have just seen the change. Like at the moment, my business model right now is so easy and so simplified. Like I don't have kids. A lot of my clients do. But if I did, I don't think that there's anything I would really change in my business right now because of this, how simplified it is, the time that I have for myself, the white space if anything goes wrong or I need more space. And that's what I want to help a lot of women get to the place of, because it can happen. I think we're just so overwhelmed by the noise of we need so many different things, but a lot of businesses don't actually need those things. They need less. They just need to do less things better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a skill. Who was it? The designer that said, take one thing off? What was that?
Was it Coco Chanel?
Yeah.
Something take something off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going with that?
I don't know. It's like the same thing, right? It's like, you know, just before you're about to leave, it's not something that you can put on. It's something you can.
Yeah, I think it's taking away the noise and just having the right systems that support you rather than trialing everything and having the fear around setting them up. So, yeah, I think that's some of the biggest gaps I've seen is letting the client dictate sometimes the offering or the journey, the cash flow gaps, and waiting far too long to hire and outsource support and to have that right support. And also outsourcing so much of who you are or your message to AI and all of those things, which you know how I feel about that.
I was actually wondering if you were going to bring that up today.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to talk about it much, but a lot of my clients use it, and that's fine. I choose not to because I'm clear and passionate about what I want to do and what I want to say, and I'm sure that there's some benefits in business, but I genuinely don't need it because everything's set up and flows with so much ease. And I also see, you know, that there's coaches talking about it at the moment of just, I replaced my VA because of this. And I just think, like that's not a message we want to be sharing where there's so many women that are supporting us and that need this income and we're letting a robot replace women's jobs. And I could talk about that more. I won't go on today, but it just doesn't feel good to me.
No,
so that's some of the things that I'm seeing inside of small business. So what are you seeing? Because you're obviously working with small, medium, large, all different sizes, but with the actual teams. Yeah. What are you seeing are the biggest challenges there right now? I mean,
that's a very, I mean, I could do an entire series on this.
Many.
I think that there is that, I mean, I sort of touched on it at the start where there have been people that have been promoted that were the best at the job that got promoted into leadership, but not necessarily trained in leadership. And I personally was that. I was the best salesperson that became the manager, and you think that that's going to be the same skill set, but I can't tell you how many times I've said leadership would be easy if it wasn't for people, because that'll bring you the greatest challenge, but also the greatest joy. But the challenge is definitely at the start when you're trying to figure out all these people. I have conversations with, I'll call them managers because they are evolving into leaders, because right now they are managing tasks. They are not necessarily leading people. And it is that people, we always have been, not more so now than ever. Like we've always been complex with our emotional waves and I mean, there is pressure. There is definitely pressure in terms of environmental, outside pressure and government and financial pressure and all the rest of it. And people are bringing that to work. And there's a lot of managers that haven't really had to deal with that. They probably haven't had to deal with it themselves, or they are dealing with it themselves. Another thing I'm seeing is there's a lot of under-resource, right? And so there is that under-resource is making a lot of management and leadership and the whole team feel that pressure of having to do more with less. And then because the economy is harder, we've got to run leaner, but we've still got to produce. And so ultimately, I mean, what am I seeing? I'm seeing a lot of pressure without praise.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a tough one that I even have to deal with and I feel like it sort of is Gen X and older that were really part of that. Just get on with it. And if even I remember when managers were giving me, "Hey, Adrian, good job." And I'd look at them almost strangely that I don't need your praise because I'm going to do it anyway. I've got, my clarity on goals or whatever. But I've since discovered when I got into leadership, because it was hard for me, I had to literally find reasons to praise people because not everybody needs recognition, but everybody loves it. And particularly when we're like putting all this pressure, like you've got to hit targets, we've got to hit budget, we've got to hit this, we've got to hit that. There's a lot of leaning on, but what are we doing to sort of feed our teams? And I think that because of that pressure on leadership is that they're wearing thin. I see it on their face. That capacity to be able to, how do I give love when I'm not really getting it myself? So that is definitely a pressure. And then when I'm working with the individuals in the team, not that they're not necessarily saying, "Oh, I'm not feeling the love," but it is that same, like they are feeling the pressure and they don't necessarily have the tools to reset from failure. How do they manage the constant feeling of pressure on their throat, either to achieve a financial figure, interest rates have just gone up, my partner's unhappy, I've got to pick up my kids. So there's all of this pressure. But I want to say it's, pressure without capacity, pressure without praise, and then pressure without focus, right? So I will say at any point in time, start of the year, middle of the year, whatever, start of the month, how are you going with your goals? And the amount of people that don't know what their goal is, and that
you won't get where you're going if you don't know where it is.
But it also makes it harder to sustain and weather pressure if you don't even know why you're doing it.
You're not inspired. There's no plan. And
I feel that is an individual's shortfall that they can fix immediately. Get clarity on. I won't even get into the identity piece, right? Not on the who you want to become. But let's just start with what are you doing it for? What do you want to achieve, right? As a leader, if you don't know what each of the players in your team are rocking up to work for, you are missing such a powerful ingredient that's going to inspire them, not motivate. Because I think, another reason a lot of leaders are exhausted is because they're constantly, I'm trying to motivate my team. Okay, well, motivation will dissipate as quickly as it lands. Inspiration, however, is because I'm inspired by my own vision. So, sure, start with, whether it be an income goal, but don't stop there. To me, the real passion comes from if someone says, I want to earn 100 grand, I want to earn 200 grand. What are you going to do with that money? What are you going to do with it? Is it private school fees for your kids? Is it the holiday to Bali with a live-in chef? Is it, the property you want to buy? Is it the savings goal that you have?
Is it just covering your mortgage repayments?
Right? But get deeper into the why, and now all of a sudden that pressure has purpose. And now as much as I'm going to do it for you, I'm also doing it for me and the greater good. So that's what I'm seeing as a challenge. I'm seeing the pressure, and I feel like that's the fix. And it's a massive conversation that I will continually have.
What do you see in terms of culture and energy and, how does that inside of businesses?
I mean, I feel like from top down, there is a sense that people aren't doing enough. And there's, a sense of they're disengaged. there's not enough energy and vibe in the team. That's a big one. Yeah. There's no energy in the showroom or there's no energy within the team and there's no banter and all the rest of it. And it's like, I see that. And I agree because that is something that is not only you observe, you can feel it. I mean, how many times you walked into a business and as soon as you, even in a retail store or whatever, you feel something before you even see it. And so if that's something
customers can feel it, like
your clients are feeling it, right? Yeah. And that's where it is an energy. Culture is not the 5 things that we say that we stand for: trust, honesty, integrity. If you need to put your 5 things that you stand for on a board, we've got bigger problems. We have bigger problems. Culture is really what your team says about the business when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
And so I get it. There is that whole top down. There's no energy. There's no vibe. There's no banter. They're disengaged. And then you get within it. And sometimes, it's we're under pressure, haven't had a break. There's no pats on the back. The losses are getting far more airtime than the success.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem. I faced it, you got the target, achieved it, awesome. Bang, whiteboard goes to 0, reset. There is a, you need to have that.
Yeah.
But I mean, anytime I've lost, God, my pity parties have last far longer than the time I won, got the PB, achieved the income goal. So that's probably what I would say I'm seeing from a cultural point of view. It's energy. And I mean, and it's noticeable. It's not, when I go into a business, it is one of the things that I will do, is to inject that energy. And
because you are the ever ready bunny. There's always energy.
And it is,
manage it.
It is something that you can cultivate. And the reason that I do have it is because I will protect it. I've got systems in place on how I release what's not mine and cultivate and generate more energy. And that's what I teach people, because it is learned behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can't, if you're in, most businesses are sales, depending on where you're working, no matter what it is, that energy is going to flow. Well, it flows everywhere, doesn't it? Up and down with management, into the team, into customers, into clients, into all of those things. And if that's flat or if that's off within the team, that's having far more of an impact than what they realize.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to sound too cliche about that whole emotion is energy in motion, but it is. And to me, there is the art of selling, which comes from that exchange between two people, or between people that is felt. I mean, I could talk about that all day in terms of the words that we speak, the tonality. There is massive psychology in terms of sales that is more so than just the what I say. It's the way I say it and the way I care. Yeah, there's plenty.
And so. And something we've been reflecting on a lot lately is how can we help people? And I know in my business, I've got Flourish, my one-on-one mentoring, which I dive deeply, with women in business. And with your business, we're making a few refinements at the moment because you're saying, well, these are the gaps, these are the challenges that I keep seeing and I keep facing. What can I do to support that? And so we've come up with this amazing workshop series. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
So speaking of she was saying at the start she worked with her clients to set their offer. Yeah, I get that full time, right?
Yeah, try living with a business coach.
So I guess on the theme of energy, it's the Amplify workshop series, which to me is essentially like a performance ecosystem that will hit the 4 main factors that businesses are going to face, which is 1, culture, 2, leadership, 3, wellness.
Yeah.
Right? Because take care of you can take care of everything else. And then there's the sales aspect. And all of it is a very practical, lived, interactive experience to work with leaders and individuals within the team in an interactive workshop to how can they practically put this into action. I mean, and that's the stuff that I love to do, to be honest. Yeah.
And I think it's so needed. And I think we've been in such fortunate positions to have seen inside so many businesses. Like, you managed, teams and led teams for years. And now I've been 6 years inside of businesses, and I've been 8 years inside of businesses in different ways. And we start to see just constant reoccurring themes and patterns. And for me, it doesn't matter whether I'm working with someone in HR or whether they're an interior designer.
Yeah.
The problems and the challenges I'm seeing are the same, which is why I've gone from just working with one area in the creative space and interiors and merging across, because the challenges and the gaps are the same. And it's not a judgment by any means. It's with compassion that I'm sharing that. It's like there's the focus on the service offering, but it's the focus on
the person.
That and the behind the scenes, and also starting a business. Like, it is like, I think I've heard explained, it's like peeling the layers of an onion back as well. Like, there's so many layers of ourself that we have to become and shed, and there's so much growth involved in running a business as well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, one of, and you do it in many different ways, is actually coaching the person through the evolution.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's what I thought you were going to say. As much as it is there's so much to do on the business, it's the individual. And that's where you'll focus a lot of the consultation,
building them up,
and in growing the actual individual to take on.
Yeah. But to understand how and why to set those things up, and the major impact that it's going to have on their life and business and income and all of those things. And back to your business, we're saying is those gaps that you've seen, and now creating these amazing things to be able to put into businesses with practical, tangible things, because it is really hard sometimes when you're in the day-to-day, and whether that's running a business, being a manager, parenting, whatever, you're in the day-to-day, you're in the same loop, and sometimes it's really hard to see. So I just think for everything, and we often do it, get fresh perspectives on things and outside opinions, and, we're very clear and passionate about what we do, but it doesn't mean that you can't every now and then have a sounding board or a fresh set of eyes to look at something to see where your gaps might be. And I think that that's an important thing for all businesses to do. Like, can we get a fresh set of eyes that can just easily oversee everything and go, well, there's some gaps, and if we made some tweaks, how much more could we engage our people or increase our revenue, or better support our clients through their service offering and process with more clarity and less misalignment, or I just think that there's so much opportunity for things to be so much smoother. Yeah,
there's the awareness piece, and then there's the vulnerability piece, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of there's been people that won't work with someone like myself because of the insecurity that they would be shown up. And it's like, oh man, if I only could tell you how many mentors, coaches I have right now that hold me accountable, aside from you, that holds me incredibly accountable, and I'm grateful for it. Sometimes I don't show it, but I'm truly grateful for it. But even when I was an up-and-coming manager, I remember the first mentor, I may have shared this before, I can't remember, but I said to him, I want to do a survey with the team.
Yeah.
I want them to, I want to know what I'm doing well and where I can improve. And I think I was 6 months into the manager job, and he said, you're not ready for that. Mm-hmm. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't think that your confidence is on a strong enough foundation. He goes, because there will be criticism, and it may drop you down. So, and I feel like that is a limitation. I did build myself up, and I did end up getting that feedback from the team. And it was, the outside eyes that I had from that mentor that allowed me to see what I wasn't seeing, blind spots. I mean, some of the insights that I get to share with the leadership teams that I see from working within the business itself, I mean, that there's gold in there, because in a disgusting way of saying your production comes from your people, but as a leader, our role should be helping each individual become their best, not the best, become their best. And if our energy is coming from that place, and I can see that, hey, this is an oversight that you're not taking care of here, or the way that you may be interacting with, little Billy and Macy, that's really, sort of dulling their flame. And if you can upskill your understanding to this, then everyone rises. Like, nobody loses. I'm not after anyone's job. What I love is the diversity of environments.
Yeah, definitely. And just touching back on that vulnerability, I think that that's a big thing. And I see it with a lot of women as well. And some have said to me, like, I've been following for 6 months or 2 years, and some more than 5 years before they're actually ready to reach out. And I'm so glad that they have. But I think there's such a fear of what people will think all the time. And we've touched on that in our last episode. And and I think for me, and I think for us, there's a lot of being curious and how can we do things better, whether it be our relationship, our health, our home, you know, low tox, things in business, understandings with finances and cash flow. There's always a curiosity of how we could do it better. And I think that that's something that people, I don't know, just to reflect on that, where could they get a little bit more curious, and where could we be a little bit more vulnerable and go, hey, I don't know. I'm going to put my hand up. I'm going to have that little, you know, moment of pain of, you know, whatever that feels like to them. And then, but what could be so much better on the other side of that once we've resolved that and once we get that fixed? Yeah. So I think that's vulnerability and just putting your hand up sometimes and going, hey, I need a hand. I don't know everything.
And there ain't no greater lesson than that. They're trying to work with men. Yeah. Having just gone through, I'm not sure when this episode will go out after Limitless has gone down. Anyway, Limitless doors have closed, and the amount of discussion around there is no courage without vulnerability and being able to step, you know, into that. Yeah. And that's true of everybody. So yeah, there is growth on the other side of that fear, whatever it is. And, you know, whether you're aware that there's a gap, or you just feel that pressure within your business or within your management or leadership capacity, or within your skill set, or within, you know, the potential of the business. Yeah. Just take the leap. Yeah. Because the growth is on the other side.
Absolutely. So we wanted to just share a little bit today around the gaps and the challenges that we're seeing. And, you know, maybe you're feeling some of those in your business, in your team, or, you know, your partner or your friend might be, and maybe share this episode with them. And if anyone does want any support, we've obviously, our websites is adrianaddamo.com, kateaddamo.com. And we just launched, which we hadn't shared properly on social media as yet, but the Addamos.com, which is going to be predominantly for now housing our website, and in the future there will be more things to come and unfold.
We are thinking lots of different things.
I think that's the thing. We have so many ideas, and both of us have so many ideas for our own businesses, and then together it's
Imagine we did this together.
Pick one.
So I wonder if you can guess what we're going to do.
We're just deciding which one we're going to pick at the moment, and then something will unfold there. But yeah, please follow along.
So yeah, obviously we spoke about the pressures that people are, or the challenges that they're feeling. Hopefully you got some takeaways within this that you can apply immediately. But yeah, without a doubt, if you guys want some support, like, reach out. That is absolutely what we are here to do. Build things to last.
Absolutely. And I think in upcoming episodes, we definitely want to start talking about some of the things that we do differently in our life and home and health, and the things that have had just a really big impact. There's so many things that we have explored.
Yeah, this ain't all going to be business. No. I feel like the next one we need to just absolutely shake it up. And
who knows? Do
a different topic.
They're going to be different all the time. Yeah. But thank you for being here. As always, please subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
Please work with your husband.
Children, animals.
Don't do it, people. Yeah, we'd love for you to just jump in, subscribe, share, like, rate, any of those things, because it helps to push it out further for more people to see it and to hear it. I know a husband and wife podcast is something unique. There's a few of them out there, but not a lot. And people have said, hey, this is great. We need more of them. So
we appreciate it.
Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And we'll be speaking with you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys.